In the year of 2015, which is almost 10 years ago, by the way, crazy, I know, a game by the name of H1Z1 came out. To many, this was their first ever introduction to the Battle Royale genre. To some others, their first introduction was through the DayZ mod for Arma 2 a few years prior. However, the world wasn't really quite ready for these types of games yet. A few years later, in 2017, Fortnite released. During that same year of 2017, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds released as well. And no one could have ever fathomed just how big these games would become. You can actually see this on the Steam player count charts. It starts off pretty damn well when it releases, but then in 2018 blows up beyond anyone's expectations. It peaked at 3.2 million players just on Steam. Absolutely crazy. It was starting to become very obvious back then. This was a money printing machine. Both PUBG and Fortnite were extremely successful. And all of a sudden, you started seeing a huge influx of Battle Royale games coming out every single day. PUBG alone made over $1 billion in the year of 2018. So obviously, big companies were looking at this while drooling and wanted to make their own money printing machines as well. In that same year of 2018, Activision ordered Treyarch to scrap their single-player campaign for Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and to replace it urgently with a Battle Royale game mode. The fact that they made this game mode under such time constraints for the first time was a miracle, and they needed multiple studios under Activision to help them. But seeing that it was extremely trendy and came out during the biggest year for Battle Royale games, it was a massive success. So naturally, another big developer that wanted a piece of that sweet, sweet Battle Royale pie was Ubisoft. The only problem was that, unlike Treyarch or Activision, they couldn't do something quick enough. They ended up making a game by the name of Hyperscape and releasing it in 2020, 2 years after the massive Battle Royale hype. The problem was that it was, quite frankly, a Ubisoft game. It had a body, but no soul. A problem the company has been dealing with for many, many years now. So even though the game did have some good aspects to it, it wasn't enough to make a dent in the market, let alone make people want to ditch their current Battle Royale to play this one instead. But this didn't mean that this game didn't have any fans. It did, and some pretty hardcore ones at that. Those same players were hoping that this game was going to have a long lifespan. And, well, the game died in less than 2 years. The game died in less than 2 years. You have Battle Royales that still exist today, generating a lot of revenue, but this game couldn't even make it 2 years. In fact, you know what's funny? Before making this video, I didn't even know it existed. You probably are watching right now and are thinking, wait, I've never heard of this before. Yeah, that's Ubisoft. Not only are they late to the trend party, but when they do arrive, they have the most mediocre, generic piece of trash to present to you. I think it's safe to say that there was probably more awareness about this game being cancelled than it releasing. But it's happening again in 2024. Ubisoft has yet again released a game following a trend that was big 2 years ago, but that now is completely dead. They stealthily released an NFT game at the end of 2024. As you might have guessed, it's a pathetic disaster of epic proportions. You can't even play the game even if you wanted to. Someone already found an exploit that forces everyone to play against them. It's ridiculously bad, dude. It's so pathetic, and to me, it signals the end of Ubisoft, the final nail in the coffin of a once great company. And in this video, I'll tell you exactly why this is the case. Let's talk about it. So for me personally, the most annoying time to have been online was probably from mid-2021 to mid-2022, during none other than the NFT Frenzy. People just wouldn't shut the hell up about them, whether it was hyping them up or hating on them. Everyone was just talking about NFTs, non-fungible tokens. So many celebrities saw the hype, they saw the money potential, and they started making their own tokens. People were fueled by the idea that these tokens could rise up in value so much that they could give you generational wealth overnight or something. And I mean, why wouldn't they? There was someone who bought a picture of a monkey for $3.4 million. You know, like, why wouldn't they think that? That's why this was a frenzy. You'd wake up and see yet another Twitter post about someone selling one of these dumb images for $500,000, $1 million, $2 million. Amounts of money for the average person that are completely inconceivable, especially for something like that. Not only did celebrities take advantage of this, but YouTubers did too, in some of the shadiest ways possible. Logan Paul made something called CryptoZoo and made over $3.5 million in a day. That's a lot of money. It of course turned out to be a scam, and he didn't actually make anything out of the NFT. He was promising a game. He suffered a class action lawsuit from it. This wasn't just limited to non-fungible tokens, crypto in general was booming because of it. You had celebrities and content creators like KSI tweeting to his followers that they really need to buy this token because it's about to make so much money, and then selling it off as they were buying it. That's what's called a pump and dump. And if you guys remember, before Dr. Disrespect became a complete clown, he even co-founded a game studio centered around an NFT game. He sold 10,000 Founders Access passes for $50 each. They sold out immediately, which means you're paying $50 to be a free alpha tester, is what that means, really. Additionally, you had Facebook rename itself to Meta and focus solely on the metaverse. Many people were banking that these NFTs would make up a huge portion of the metaverse. So a lot of companies were looking at how much money these NFTs were making and thinking, wait a second, don't I want a piece of this pie that's printing money every single day? EA Games was really interested, Square Enix was really interested, GameStop was interested. Everyone was looking at this like it was the next gold mine. Many gamers were very worried about these developments. But thankfully, those companies' dreams and aspirations of printing millions of dollars were completely shattered. The NFT frenzy was big, but thankfully it lasted only a short while, from mid-2021 to mid-2022. After that, the market proceeded to crash dramatically, violently even, with tokens being worth up to $620,000 being down to $10. Since the crash, people have realized, well, yeah, maybe selling a PNG image on the blockchain was kind of dumb. I would say 99% of people have already moved on from it, except one company, Ubisoft. And dumb decisions like this are the last thing they need. I mean, look at the stock price right here, minus 74% in the last 5 years. If you invested $1 million in them 5 years ago, you'd barely have $260,000 right now. Things are going extremely bad for them, and it's not surprising seeing that they're making such dumb decisions. The game they're placing all their hopes on is Assassin's Creed Shadows, a game set in feudal Japan. And for the first time, the people of the culture being represented by this game are not happy at all. Japan absolutely hates it, and the Japanese government is actually investigating the game and Ubisoft because, in their own words, they're using AI and have done a lack of research. Additionally, in 2024, they launched one of the biggest logistical disasters in video gaming history, Skull and Bones, a game that's taken over a decade to make. It's a multiplayer game where you play as a pirate and your ship has stamina. It has stamina. You literally have stamina to sprint on a ship, bro. You have sails. There's the wind. What do you mean stamina? Well, don't worry, guys. Yves Guillemot, the CEO of Ubisoft, has said that this is a quadruple A game, not a triple A game. This is the first ever quadruple A game. He's directly saying that it's better than any game you've ever played in your life objectively. But there's a problem. There's only 125 people playing the best game ever made right now. At least on Steam. I'm sure on console there's millions. But that's not all, because Ubisoft is the gift that keeps on giving. They were finally able to score a Star Wars licensed game. Well, that flopped too. Sold 1 million copies in 1 month. Now that does seem like a high number, but for the cost of the game and seeing that it's a Star Wars licensed game, it's extremely disappointing. It's a flop. So it's no surprise that in 2024, they have made 20% less revenue than in 2023. Even worse, in the second half of 2024, they actually specifically made 36% less revenue than 2023. Things are looking very bad. Now, there are some theories that the reason why Ubisoft is struggling so much is because the CEO is doing it on purpose to drive the stock price as low as possible and be able to rebuy the majority stake in the company. This is something that he's not going to do by himself. This is something that he wants to do with the Chinese conglomerate Tencent. But if you have any hopes in that, if you have any hopes that he's actually playing 5D chess and that he'll bring back Ubisoft to its glory days, guys, it will never happen. According to this French article on Politico, the French parliament is already very well aware of this plan going on in the background, and they will never allow a Chinese company to participate in buying majority stake in the biggest French video game sweetheart. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry to crush your hopes like this, but this is never gonna happen, period. And this brings us back to them stealthily launching an NFT game at the end of 2024. Ubisoft's obsession with NFTs didn't happen overnight. It's been going on for years now. It's very well documented, and I think that it shows why Ubisoft is an unsalvageable company better than the example that most people use, which is Assassin's Creed Shadows. During the NFT Frenzy of 2021, Ubisoft wasn't late. They launched Ubisoft Quartz almost immediately. The premise was simple. There would be limited edition items that would drop in the game Ghost Recon Breakpoint, coming with a serial number and being attached to your name. Even better, they would have a monetary value. You could sell it to someone else if you wanted to. Well, there were probably around 15 total sales of these NFTs. And bear in mind, this was during the NFT Frenzy, not later, not 2 years later. This was during 2021. I mean, that is the most embarrassing thing a company of this size has to announce to people. Yeah, we only sold 15. Barely a year later, they shut down the whole program. Quartz was over. It was an absolute disaster. And you'd think, okay, well, they dabbled with NFTs a little bit, tried to get a piece of that pie. It didn't work out. They're done, right? Nope. Nope. Even after shutting down Quartz for Ghost Recon, they still said that there are future NFT drops coming with other games. Something that literally no one wanted to hear, including Ubisoft developers, okay? They were very concerned over this direction Ubisoft was going in because they didn't want NFTs either. During a company Q&A, Yves Guillemot, the wonderful CEO of Ubisoft, told employees that this backlash can compare to microtransactions and loot boxes. It'll pass. What he didn't understand is that gamers already hated microtransactions and loot boxes and didn't want yet another layer of monetization, which were useless NFTs. Well, that didn't work. Ubisoft kept doubling down. Management was convinced NFTs were the future. The employees wanted nothing to do with it. Back in 2022, a new Bloomberg report said that the friction between Ubisoft management and employees grew more intense on Thursday after the company posted another announcement on its internal message board laying out its strategy for blockchain technology. That message, according to the report, prompted hundreds of negative replies from employees. One employee said it was a deeply embarrassing day to work at Ubisoft, while another asked if management was competing with EA for the most hated game studio by the public title. Ubisoft's handling of widespread workplace misconduct allegations at the company also came up. Our confidence in management was already shaken by the handling of harassment claims, and now this? One employee asked. So imagine, right? In 2020, there were the famous allegations of sexual misconduct at Ubisoft. Some executives had to leave. Executives, okay? Management, upper management had to leave because they were participating in these disgusting acts. In fact, many employees were very disappointed with Ubisoft's handling of the situation. So imagine, the same people that you lost complete trust in, that were participating in these allegations, were now telling you NFTs are the future, do it or you're fired. Wonderful company to work in. A year later, in 2022, they kept doubling down. A Ubisoft executive said that people who are criticizing NFTs just don't get it. Guys, it's your fault, okay? That's Ubisoft's relationship with feedback and criticism. Not once in the last 10 years did they actually take a step back and think, wait, maybe we screwed up here. So obviously this was a sign that they were not going to stop anytime soon. But you know what? I'm glad they doubled down because now I can own Ezio's digital soul. Are you starting to understand why Ubisoft is going to go bankrupt in the next few years unless they fire every person in management? They're tone deaf. Who asked for this? Who? Tell me, is there a single person watching this video who asked for this? No. Because here's the funniest thing in all of this. Gamers, or just people who play video games in general, are probably the worst demographic for NFTs. You see, non-fungible tokens have found some form of success in sports or music. But gamers are tired, okay? They have microtransactions, they have subscriptions. They're being told by Ubisoft executives that they have to get used to the fact that they won't be able to own their games anymore. They already have a million things to worry about already. They don't need yet another layer of monetization. And they have no idea. They're so tone deaf about it. And that's why we're here today, even after all the backlash internally at Ubisoft and externally from players. They still doubled down and released a game end of 2024 called Champions Tactics, which is a full-blown NFT game. This is all in conjunction with their master plan of making a play-to-earn model, where the more you play a game, the more money you make. A model that is ridiculously unsustainable and is only a pipe dream. Here's how the game works. The Web3 comes into play as a method of collecting figurines to battle with. When you first start the game, you're given some temporary figurines to play with. But you'll eventually need to either purchase actual figurines, aka NFTs, from other players using either in-game gold or cryptocurrency, or craft your own using the Forge system, which also requires either in-game currency or crypto. Oh man, I love paying for everything. At the time of this piece, 5 days after launch, the in-game marketplace has figurines for sale ranging from around $7 to a whopping $63,000 for something called a Swift Zealot. Champions Tactics is free to download, though you have to have a Ubisoft account and a supported blockchain wallet to actually play it. While it appears you can technically play the game entirely for free without ever engaging with NFTs using in-game currency, the viability of this strategy is likely going to be dependent on how the prices for actually powerful characters fluctuates over the game's lifespan. It's a PvP game, with no campaign and no PvE beyond a training mode, so free-to-play players will inevitably be at the mercy of people willing to engage with the NFT marketplace and spend some real money to buy or forge the absolute best champions. A real pay-to-win dilemma, yeah, you don't say. Okay, fine, you know what? Let's check out the game. Maybe it looks fun, maybe it's cool. It's a 45-second announcement trailer. The dislike ratio is ridiculous. Look, maybe they just don't get it. Maybe they just don't understand. Maybe it's their problem. Let's watch. Okay. High quality cinematics. They've invested into this. I see. Cards. Okay. Wow. 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 Really cool moving drawings. Can I see gameplay? Any gameplay? Wait. Is this it? Oh my god. They're figurines! Oh my god, bro. That's it? That's the gameplay? I'd rather own these figurines in real life and have them fight each other like I used to do with toys when I was 5 years old. Are you kidding me? You know, I should mention that this game launched with no marketing whatsoever, okay? Zero marketing. Almost like they were embarrassed that they were launching it. And they should. The weekend after this game launched, you couldn't even play it. Someone was fully exploiting the matchmaking system. 2 accounts, Shillarai11 and Paulstar111, were at the top of the leaderboards after having played 56,000 matches. It hasn't even been a week since the game came out. You had someone effectively forcing every single player in the game to play against him. You couldn't play against anyone else. And yet, they released this game anyway. But my question is, why? You know how Warner Brothers gutted Coyote vs. Acme, a movie that could have actually been really good just for tax write-offs because they really needed the money? Ubisoft has already made 20% less revenue than 2023. Why not just use this dumbass game as a tax write-off? Why release it? Are you stupid? The worst and greediest company on planet Earth, EA Games, also was very hyped about NFTs with Ubisoft. Even they've already backtracked from NFT enthusiasm, okay? How does a game like this make it on the market at the end of 2024, 2 years after the hype completely died down? Well, again, that's the problem with Ubisoft. Same problems facing some beloved game developers that have completely deteriorated over the years, like Blizzard. The problem was that these companies, while booming, hired the wrong people. And then even worse, they then promoted those wrong people. And that's how you get present-day Ubisoft, a company running on ego and self-preservation that takes zero feedback and accountability on anything they do, instead choosing to blame their players whenever something bad happens. That's how a game like this can have such an embarrassing launch. I always had a glimmer of hope that this company could recover, but after seeing them release this NFT game, honestly, all hope is gone. It's safe to say that all the good employees who made the games of my childhood have already left or are already on their way out. Even the ones still working there are dissatisfied and are currently striking against the company's policies and decisions. It's with no exaggeration that I say that it's over for Ubisoft. It's tragic, but leadership has no one to blame but themselves. In the coming years, this company will face a reckoning unlike any we've ever seen before. But for now, take care, stay safe. Thank you so much for watching till the end. It means a lot. And yeah, love you so much. See you next time. Mwah.